Hey, Homeberries. I just wanted to talk about a couple things. I feel like there's this episode of Batman the Animated Series, quite possibly the greatest superhero cartoon of all time. Uh, People can have a debate, but I think it's the best. There was an episode with the Riddler. It he was going to do a television commercial because he had a sponsorship deal with this toy and puzzle and game company. They gave him a script, but he said, "No, I know exactly what I want to say." I kind of feel that's how I am with some of these commentary videos. I think I know just what I'm going to say, and then it gets started and like, Also enjoy the lovely void that's popped up as a result of the lighting not being quite right. It looks like one of those comic book or anime characters, however you want to pronounce it. They just have a black void and it's like, oh, everything's going. Well, some time ago, I was watching one of my own videos for some reason. I don't remember why exactly. And I noticed that the recommended videos and channels were all related to children's cartoons and things. I was kind of surprised, but then I realized, oh, well, I shouldn't be surprised because at that time my channel was mostly Bizarrevark reactions. There's a 2-part Wow Wow Wubsy reaction, and a lot of short videos, some of which were related to Pokemon. I made what I like to call the Pokemon Berry Saga, a series of 4 videos commenting on unusual aspects of the various berries on Pokemon. So I realized, oh, so they think I'm a children's channel. Well, I guess that's okay. Recently, I was looking over a list of my videos to see what sort of views and reactions I had gotten, and I found that 3 of my videos had been marked as set for being made for children. I did not do this. Someone had decided for me that these videos had been made for children. That's not a big issue because I don't really have objectional, for me it's not. I'll get more into that later. Because I'm not saying them randomly setting videos as made for children isn't a big deal, because it is. I'll get into that later. They had decided that... sorry, I forgot to go back to what I was saying. It's not a big issue as far as my channel's concerned, because I don't have objectionable content, really. I don't use profanity. I don't talk about sexual stuff. So even though my channel is not specifically made for children, it could be considered rated G, maybe PG at the highest, because occasionally I'll mention something more serious. In my Cliches I Hate videos, there was a part I mentioned someone having a drinking problem and waking up with vomit on their breath. That may be a little too intense for some people. The videos, like I said, there were 3 videos. 2 of them were Pokemon, if I recall correctly, Pokemon Berry Sizes or Nonsense Part 2, and reaction to reacting to everything coming up Wubsy Part 2. Of course, my reaction to those is, well, why weren't the other parts labeled made for kids? So see, that's one thing that bothers me. One part being rated as made for children and the other part not. You just wonder about that. Here's what's funny, though. The third video marked as made for children is this video, maybe 8 seconds long, called Last Night's Calibration Stream in a Nutshell. See, there's a channel, you look at my reaction videos, I say, oh, here's some reactors who are actually good, check them out. There's a guy named Caleb that's on a channel called CL Entertainment. There are 3 or 4 different channels by that name, I think, so I'll provide a link to the channel. I always do. So, CL Entertainment, also known as Calibration on Twitch. So I thought that was interesting that it said that was made for... let me explain what the video is. I was watching his Twitch stream. So he was joking around, and 1 or 2 of his friends were joking around, and I was joking around. And somehow, I forget how the topic of chickens came up. So we were all joking around, making chicken puns and making chicken noises. So the next day, I went to prayer meeting. I went into the nursery for some privacy, and they had one of those animal spin-and says, and it just happened to be set on chicken. I thought, oh, I can't resist this, so I gave it a crank. Well, I need the preface. The chicken goes. So I said that was last night's calibration stream in a nutshell, because we had all been making the chicken noises and jokes. Here's what I find interesting about that being said is made for children. His channel is not the most child-friendly channel. It's not like he doesn't go out of his way to be provocative or offensive, anything like that, so it's not like that, don't get me wrong, but he'll get excited about the video games he's playing or the lists he's watching, and he'll use profanity, or I can't think of him making sexual jokes. He doesn't do that, but he has there's some use of profanity. There's this character Shao Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist, and anyone who knows about the character knows he's not a good character. It's become a running joke. He'll flip off the camera and say, you know, F you, Tucker, when he comes up. So that's the content. Set is made for children. And you know why it is, or my theory? I think it's because it has the animal spin and say in the thumbnail. So, now granted, I know they're not going to say, oh hey, what's this link, and follow the link and investigate the channel to see what the story is and learn everything. So like I said, I just think it's funny. So, you know, there are these rules that are coming up, or a rule. I don't know everything that entails. Here's the thing. I personally will not be affected by this. I can label my videos as made for children. Like I said, they're made for all ages, so I hate to say specifically they're made for children, but I can do that. I'm not getting money off my videos. I don't have advertisers. I'm not selling anything or advertising anything. I'm tempted. There was a whole bit I was going to do, but no, never mind that. I can do that joke another time. A lot of people are going to be affected by this, though. Just yesterday, I watched this video by this guy, a PokeTuber, a brand into the past, and it was sad at the end because he's talking about how this could be his last Pokemon video because of these rules that are coming into effect, and he'll have to see where it goes from here. And it's sad that he would be affected by this just because people look at his videos and automatically think, oh, Pokemon, that has to be made for children. Not everything that seems like it's related to children's media is made for children. I thought suddenly it's becoming the entitled parent subreddit, because there are a number of stories. Someone is playing a violent video game, or they're watching a violent cartoon, and the entitled mother says, oh, well, let my child watch your video game, or read your comic book. They'll say, well, no, it's violent, it has to, oh, don't be silly, it's for kids. So they take whatever it is and let the child watch it. The child becomes traumatized. Oh, why did you let my child watch that? They didn't, lady, they warned you. So that's unfortunate that people aren't taking to think that people won't take the time to look at this and say, well, is this really made for children, or is it just in a cartoony style? Is it made for children, or does it have more adult content? Things like that. Right now, TyranitarTube, another one of my favorite PokeTubers, is playing this fan game called Pokemon Reborn. And it deals with some more mature and adult and disturbing subject matter. There's one, this is a little graphic, but I'll try not to give spoilers. There's a character in the game who commits suicide by jumping off a bridge. So see what I mean? That's more mature, and it's very sad too, because the guy releases all his Pokemon before doing it and has to drive them away. So a very sad, serious moment. Some people would look and say, oh, Pokemon, well, that's made for children. Like, well, maybe the games are for all ages, but this is a fan game. I don't think it has an official rating. I don't know if the makers gave any sort of rating to it, but no, it's more adult. I know I'm probably repeating myself already. You get the point. So there are a lot of people who are going to be hurt by people making assumptions like, oh, well, it does this, it's obviously, I am getting so tired of that argument. It's like, oh, it's obviously for children. I don't know if I've mentioned before, I make my own comic books, and it's the same thing. They're G or PG rated, but sometimes I have things that get more more disturbing. Occasionally I'll even put a warning label on the comic. It's not graphic compared to other comic books, but it's still serious. Like, I had an issue about heroin addiction and all the unpleasantries, or many of them, many of the unpleasantries that come with that, like injecting. I had a character injecting himself with a dirty needle, because that's what happens to a lot of drug addicts. And I've said probably the most disturbing scene in that issue, there was someone injecting drugs into their neck, because that's what drug addicts do. They'll inject drugs anywhere they can. Probably should have. I may put a warning little label on this video. I don't know. But that's another example. You might, oh well, there's some comic book and then there's someone bleeding heavily because they got injured. It's all in a very cartoony, non-graphic style, but again, you can't judge that, oh, it's a cartoon, it's for kids. I'm surprised that there are still people doing that with all the adult cartoons there are. And in any case, so I'm not worried for me. I'm worried for a number of other people. I'm about to get angry here because I'm just so sick of hearing this. There are people who are, I don't want to, I guess joyful is the term. They're joyful about this because they joke, oh, well, I guess these YouTubers I don't like will finally be out of business then. That is not funny. Please stop making that joke. See, this is how sick I am of that joke. I'll have to keep that handy. People are going to be heavily affected by this, and you make jokes because you hate somebody. It's like, oh, well, it's a good thing this thing happened, so you can make jokes like that. The big channels are, sorry, I hate to be so negative, I'm just irritated. But what irritates me too, these were the same people who were glad when this was first announced, because a lot of people don't want to admit it, but they were happy when this happened, because they said, oh, well, these channels I don't like will be affected then. So they went through this whole bit about, oh, won't someone please think of the children? And were gung-ho about it, like, yeah, let's do this, this is great. Then, when they realized it would affect channels they like, suddenly they were up in arms about it. So, sorry to be so negative. I'm just sick of people behaving that way. So, no, these big channels are not going away just because of this. Channels you don't like are not going away because of this. I don't know if there's anyone who actually does. I don't know if they actually think that's going to happen or not, but like I said, this will affect a lot of people. I'm hoping they get their act together. Hopefully they will at some point, but I don't know when. How much backlash is there going to be? How many people are going to be affected. Because, you know, it seems like things like this, it starts and it's enacted improperly, and only after a bunch of people are punished for things they didn't do that they say, oh, hey, let's go back and rewrite it so it's the way it should have been in the first place. I don't know. I'm not really sure how to end this either. I didn't really think about that. Brandon to the Past had a link to a petition, so I think I'll link that in the description, because I don't want to be one of those people who complains about something and then, oh, what should we do? Well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You spent 21 minutes going on about this. What do you mean you... So, I should like to know, you should find out about something before you're gung-ho about it, because like I said, people were excited about this new rule at first. And then it's like that it suddenly becomes SpongeBob Last Stand, where Mr. Krabs was excited about the freeway, and then when he found it would ruin his restaurant, like, oh, well, so yeah, that's it. Just wanted to give an update and share some thoughts. So, good luck to all your channels, everyone who's out there. Well, have a blessed day, everybody.